Welcome back, everyone, to the Electric Coaches channel. And now I've got my San Francisco 49ers defense completed. I got 11 49ers here completed from sculpting. I want to now start tweaking some bases for this defense as well as this Seattle Seahawks offense. And as most of you in the hobby know, well, really all of you in the hobby know, is one base at a time. And the bases that I'm considering right now are these new ITZ CL2 bases. I'm considering this base for, my linemen starting out, defensive lineman, offensive lineman, all right? And I may put this base on a linebacker perhaps. I gotta tweak it and see. So that's what we're gonna do here in this video. We're gonna take one of these CL2 bases, these new ITZ CL2 bases, and we're gonna evaluate it. Okay, we're looking at the underside of a new ITZ CL2 base. As you can see, you see 8 prongs. You have 2 prongs in each corner of the base. Got 2 here, 2 here, here, and here. All right. I'm going to, in this video, I'm going to work with those prongs to enhance the performance of this base. That's what this video is about. We're going to tweak the CL2. I have another base that I want to show you after this one. It's another CL2 that I did some modifications to, and I want to share that with you, okay? As you can see, the back prongs, they don't have any flash on them, but I'm still going to pass the lighter over it. Let's flip the base around, and let's look at the front prongs real quick. We're going to take the base off here. I'm going to flip it off, take it off, and we're going to flip it over. We're going to see if we can get a look at these front prongs. All right. Going to zoom in a little bit closer. Now, if you look, you'll see that the base, the front prongs here, they have a good amount of flash on them. We're going to use our lighter to remove that flash. Flash, and it works to hold the base back. So that flash contributes to it's the #1 contributor of a poor base performance. So our lighter is going to help to remove that flash. Move the base over a little bit, you can see the flash on those prongs there. I believe that's the front left corner of the base here. All right. So let's go back to those back prongs real quick. We're gonna flip the base over. We're gonna take one more look. Those back prongs. I guess you could say there's a tiny bit right along the tips of the base. Let's move this base around some more. Get a different angle. All right. Let's see here. Let's move it up a little closer. These are our back prongs. Matter of fact, let's flip it over. All right. Now this is a full view of the base right over top. All right. And as you can see, the prongs are out of alignment also. These back prongs right here, we got to get that straight. And these front prongs are slightly out of alignment as well. All right. But other than the flash you see on the front and a little bit that we saw on those back prongs, this base is in good shape. Now I'm gonna show you the other base that I modified. I'm gonna take this away. I'm also gonna do a side-by-side comparison as well. This base right here is also a CL2, but if you look closely, I removed some parts of the base, and I did this in an effort to reduce the weight of the base. I'm going to show you that also later in the video. We're going to get the scale out and we're going to weigh the base. The new base complete, as well as the base after I modified it. But if you look here, I cut this section of the base out to reduce weight. I also took the shoulders that sit here on the dial. I removed those from the dial, and I also cut away this piece in here that sits on the dial. Right now this base has a rounded front mounted on it. I left that on there, okay? But in the next frame I'm going to show you the side-by-side comparison. This base I tweaked already, and we're gonna I'm gonna run this base for you and show you what I've done with it. And if you look at these front prongs right here, you'll see that those front prongs are, the tips of those prongs are very straight edged, as well as the back. And what I did with them, I used my straight nail clippers to get that result. All right, I'm still tweaking this base, but so far the base is showing me promise. And in this video, I'm gonna talk about what I did, and I'm also gonna cover the mistakes I made, because I got another base that I did something to. Although it works, but I went a bit too far, and I want to share that with you. You're now looking at a comparison of two ITZ CL2 bases. The base on the left, which I'll call base number 1, that's a new ITZ CL2 base, fully complete, no modifications. And the base on the right, I'll call it base number 2. That's a CL2 base that I modified. And the reason for these modifications was because I needed this base to be lighter so that I can use it on my sculpted figures, okay? Because remember, the rule set mandates, and the TOC rule set mandates that your figures and base combined can't be no heavier than 4 grams, okay? So weight is very important. Now, if you look at the base on the right, base number 2, you'll see that there are parts missing from it. Well, I deliberately cut those parts out. Like I said before, the reason is weight reduction. If you look right here, the bottom third of the base, right about here, you'll see that I cut material from there. And you compare that to the base on the left, okay? You see what's missing, right? Also, the shoulders on the dial, right here, on the left side of the dial and the right side of the dial, I took those parts out as well. I used my hobby knife and cut those areas out, all right? And if you look at the very top of the base, right up here, you'll see there was a little tab that was mounted on the 0 degree portion of the top of the dial, right? Look at the base on the left and make that comparison, right? So that was cut out of the base to reduce weight. And I'm going to show you that on the game table once we go over to it. We're going to get our scale out, and we're going to do some weigh-ins of the CL2 base and my sculpted figures. I'll be right back. Okay, we're now at the game table, And I want to show you the tools I'm going to use to tweak my bases with. I have some Zurn pliers, some needle nose pliers. I have a thinner pair of flat smooth jaw pliers. Also got my cutters. Remember that material that I cut out of the base, I use these pliers right here, right? Straight edge. These are actually toenail clippers, but it's wide enough for these clippers to grab all 4 prongs on one end of the base at the same time, right? Got a lighter so we can flash, right? Let me move these out of the way. I want to show you another tool I'm using. Let's move these out of the way. I have here my coffee mug warmer, okay? And the other tool I want to show you, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to use this later in the video when I tweak. This is an infrared thermometer. I got it at Walmart for 20 bucks. There was talk on Facebook about the right temperature to have your pliers at. And honestly speaking, before I found this, there was really no real way of monitoring the temperature of your pliers, okay? So basically what I do with this thermometer, I aim it at the mug warmer, and it comes back with a temperature of 277.5 degrees. Now, when I tweak the base, I'm going to take my pliers off of the warmer, wait for this to clear, and I'm going to aim at the pliers. And right now, the pliers are reading 86.9 degrees. Okay, guess what? That's too hot. I already put it on a different base, these pliers, and I warped one of the prongs, and I'm going to show you that base in this video as I tweak our new CL2 base, the one that we had under the microscope. This base right here. We're going to tweak this one. All right. Let me get things straightened out here on the board, and we'll be right back. Here is one of the ITZ CL2 bases that I tweaked already. Okay, and if you look at the prongs, you'll see that the very tips of them appear to have been clipped, and they were. I used my toenail clipper, all right, this wide toenail clipper, to trim those tips, all right? And I want to run this base for you to give you some idea of the progress that I've made. And then I'm going to show you the base that we had under the microscope, and we're going to tweak that base. That's this base right here. We're going to talk about this one. We're going to tweak this one, all right? And this base right here is the one that I tweaked. Let's watch it run. Okay, you see that? Not very fast, but the base moves. The base gets up the board. In fact, that base is under tweaked. All right? I could do more to this base. For starters, I need to find the right angle of these prongs that will help to encourage more forward movement, more fluid movement. Okay. All right. So now, that's this base. Let's get to the base that we're actually going to work on. Now, here's another CL2, the one you saw under the microscope, and I already cut out the parts of the base that I showed you earlier in the side-by-side comparison, okay? Just to save time, all right? There's flash in the tips, and the prongs are out of alignment, all right? So we're going to set this base on the board, and we're going to give it a run test. We're going to just see what it does before we start our tweaks. Let's see what happens. Okay, it's got some movement, you know, but, you know, game time, no, this base is not ready. You know, when the board comes on, you want your players to respond. Okay, here's the guy that I tweaked already versus the guy that has not been tweaked, right? Watch. See that? When the board comes on, you want your players to respond. You want your players to get after it. You know, so in real football, if your guys move, if you had a player that move like that, you know, stiff, slow, he's going to have a hard time making your team, all right? So we got to train him up. And this is why we tweak. Base tweaking is the simulation of training your player, getting it ready for the rigors of the game, right? So here I have my needle nose pliers. And what I want to do, I want to start working on the alignment of these prongs. Remember when you saw this base under the microscope, you saw that the prongs were poorly aligned. So I take my pliers and I want to curl these prongs to encourage them to lean more to the rear of the base down here, all right? So I open the pliers like so, and I simply, you know, pinch the prongs, but I don't squeeze on them. I curl like this, see? Because what I want to do, I'm trying to encourage the prongs to sweep back, all right? So I grab that one, especially this one, you know, this prong right here. This one was way out of alignment. So I want to handle this one a little bit more, be more generous with the curl here. So I grab this one. I grab the other prong next to it, and I do the same thing. All right. So if we look at those prongs now, you'll see that those prongs are leaning more to the rear. That's what you want. Now these front prongs, we've seen these under the microscope, and we saw there was flash in the tips, right? Now part of that, when we did that first run test, that flash was holding the base back a little bit, causing the base to run, you know, kind of crazy. So we're gonna do the same thing to these prongs too. We're gonna, you know, sweep them back a little bit. All right. Also with our base align, with our prong alignment, let me set this guy down real quick. I want to show you something. Got a little training aid here. I got two toothpaste tubes. I like to use these as an example. I want you to imagine these toothpaste tubes, the prongs of your base, right? Now when you got properly aligned prongs, you want those prongs to sit evenly on the board, like so, all right? And you want, let's go sideways here. And you want those prongs to lay down, like so, see? So the base will move this way, all right? Along with that, sometimes you'll get your prongs, you get a base out of a pack, and you'll see the prongs sitting wide out like this here sometimes. You want to, if you see that, you want to bend those prongs or shape them to where those prongs will come back and sit close side by side like this. Sometimes you'll have prongs want to be on top like that. See? You want to bring that prong out. See, especially if you got like two side by side prongs like the ones you see on this CL2 base. You'll get that. You'll get this. You'll get that type of arrangement when you can get the base out the pack. And sometimes you'll get a prong that's sitting like this, almost turned. You got to straighten all that out and get those prongs like so. Let's go sideways again. Okay, let's say we got prongs laid out, right? Like so. Sometimes you'll get a prong walking like this. You have one prong further up, while the other prong is laying back. See? Now, sometimes that's okay, but other times that can hurt you. See? So you want those prongs to sit neatly, just like this. All right? So let's get back to the figure. Let's get back to the base itself. All right? And meanwhile, let's do a temperature check of our hot plate real quick, of our coffee mug warmer. coffee mug warmer is reading 323.2 degrees. It's a good thing. So I know my pliers is getting what it needs. We'll get to those pliers momentarily. Okay. So now here is our new base right here. Okay, the one we're trying to we're starting to tweak on, and we want to make sure our prongs are swept to the rear, right? So we set the base on the board. Okay, we got a little bit better movement just by simply aligning the prongs. Now that choppiness that you just saw and that turn, I bet you it came from that flash. All right. Remember how I talked about the prongs being spread apart or too close, crossed over like this? Well, these front prongs right here, they're a little bit spread out. So what I want to do, I want to take my pliers and I want to lean on this inside prong right here and try to get it to come a little bit closer to its adjacent prong. I want to get this one and push this one over a little bit. All right. Okay, so make sure everything is, together here. So we're gonna push this one. We're gonna grab this outside prong and we're gonna push it over a little bit, trying to get that straightness, if you will. Like you can think of these prongs as teeth, right? Like this is the lip side right here, and then here is the tongue side, right? And of course these are the back prongs. This would be the lip side for the back, and the tongue side right here. All right, so I'll push on those prongs a little bit, pushing them closer together. All right. We want to get, we don't want the prongs looking like buck teeth, right? Let's put it on the table now. Okay, a little bit better movement, but still choppy, right? So now, that flash that I got, I want to address that issue right here, right now. So I got my lighter. I want to use this one. This one has a better flame, right? So I want you to watch this. I'm gonna do the front prongs first because they got the most flash on it. So I got my flame and I wave it like that. Let me bring prongs a little closer here. All right. Let me go off frame a little bit. Gotta bring it close to my face and look at it. Look at the prongs. Oh yeah. I got that flash off of there. All right. Let's put the base down on the board real quick. Let's see what happens. It turns still, but the movement is a lot more fluid. All right. So I want to make sure I didn't twist my prongs. Let me go back to my toothpaste tube again. See? Here is the edge of the prong, right? If you twist the prongs, sometimes your prongs will sit on the board like that. See? If you twist that prong, it's going to sit like so. And then that will cause your base to turn sometimes, okay? You need that prong to sit straight out, okay? Like this, all right? So I flash the front prongs. Just put the base back on the board. Just run it. Okay, runs a little bit better, all right? So I'm going to take my needle nose pliers again, and I'm going to continue to work at aligning these prongs here. I still haven't put the warm pliers on these prongs yet, and I haven't used the cold pliers to smash these prongs. I'm just doing an alignment right now. So what I want to do now is I want to flash these back prongs. Haven't passed our lighter across those yet, so let's go ahead and knock that out. get our flame and do that real quick. Let's get a close up. The prongs. It wasn't much flash on these back prongs if you remember from the beginning of the video. Let me go out of frame real quick and get a close up look. Okay, these prongs are pretty clean. Do a little sweep with our fingers here. Let's run the base real quick, see what we got. Got a little bit more fluid movement, except it turns to the right. And it kind of slides a little bit as it turns. So let's look at these front prongs again. All right. Still haven't gone to the warm pliers yet. So I'll move this prong some more over. All right. Let's see. All right. So I know by pressing on this prong right here, this outside prong, I pushed it in. That made the base turn a little bit more. So I'm gonna stick my pliers in between those prongs and push this prong back out, making some small adjustments here. All right. Like I said earlier, you know, with cold pliers, you know, you can correct any mistakes that you make. Okay. All right. Twist these prongs, just turn them the other way a little bit here. Try to get this base to respond a little bit more. Try to find a way out of that turn. There it is. So we got more forward movement. So I know from this small tweak that I've done so far, I know that these prongs here I have to work on. I have to pay more attention to these prongs, because I know these prongs is what was making the base turn. So that would be the left corner of the base. These prongs here, up here on this side. Need to work those. All right. Run it again. Yes, a lot better movement. Okay. Since I have that, I want to bring my coffee mug warmer over. I'm also going to show you the other base that I worked on that I did a little bit too much on. I want to get to that in a moment. I'm going to set this right here. I want to do this on camera. Right? All right, I got a little clamp here to hold my pliers. To hold my pliers up at an angle so I can get the jaws flush on the warm surface of the coffee mug warmer. Let's do one more. Let's do another temperature test. So we aim, and it comes at a temperature of 299.3 degrees. Right. So now I want to grab my pliers real quick, and I want to shoot these. It gives me a temperature of 83.3 degrees. Now the base that I wanted to show you, this is a base that I tweaked earlier offline, and this base, still a good base, but I put the pliers on this base a little bit too. The pliers were a little bit too hot. They were at 84 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to take this base over to the microscope, and I want to show you these prongs up close. Stand by. Okay, I showed you this base at the game table with the warm pliers, right? Okay, now here's a close-up of the base. Now if you look closely, see these prongs here on the left? my pliers were too warm. And as a result, the outside prong that you see, this one right here, it got warped. My temperature was at 84.9 degrees. 84.9 degrees when I first touched those prongs. Then I took the pliers and moved over to these prongs. Okay. Now, right as I was doing that, the pliers were cooling off. So that's why these prongs on the right, they didn't warp. So the second base I tweaked, the one I showed you earlier in the video, the other tweaked video, the other CL2 that I tweaked, I had the pliers at between 80 and 82 degrees, and the prongs were fine. Okay? So what I'm learning with these CL2 in regards to temperature, what I'm learning with these CL2 bases is that between 80 and 82 degrees, your pliers should be at in regards to temperature. Anything outside of 82 degrees, I'm not sure if it's, if it's 82.1 or 82.2, what have you, if that's too hot. Don't go any higher than 82 degrees if you use, depending on your plier surface also, the metal of the pliers I'm using may vary from other metals on different pliers, not sure. But from this test, I can estimate that between 80 and 82 degrees is a good temperature for your pliers to be at, where they won't warp your prongs like you see here on your CL2. Now other bases may vary. Temperature may vary for other bases, but with these CL2s, 80 to 82 degrees is a good temperature. Okay, now we're back at the game table. Still got my coffee mug warmer here. Let's do one more temperature check. See what we get. Okay, the warmer reads 287 degrees. So our temperature changes, it varies throughout this video. Ambient temperature will have an effect on the surface of the warmer. But at any rate, 300 degrees, 270 degrees, it's hot enough. All right. Let's check let's check the plier surface real quick to see what we get. 85.2 degrees. We're gonna let this clear out. Let the pliers sit for a moment. And we're gonna test it again. Okay. Let's do one more check. 83.6 degrees. Okay. I kind of missed. I gotta make sure I aim it, make sure the beam hits somewhere in this part of the pliers. At any rate though, 80, like I said earlier in the last frame, between 80 and 82 degrees is the temperature that we want to shoot for. So I'm going to move this out of the way so we can get ready to test our base again. So put that over there. Let those pliers sit just for a little while longer to warm up again. Let's run the base. Okay, it's back turning again. Sometimes your prongs will move after you tweak. So I know these prongs over here, like we said earlier, got to watch these prongs on this side. So I'm going to take my Zerns and I'm going to do these back prongs one more time. Hit them again. Especially this prong right here. This is another prong we got to watch to make sure that it stays swept to the rear. Going to bring our warm pliers over momentarily. All right, we're going to be careful not to twist these prongs. All right. Put our base back on the board. All right. Right here is where I want to look at. Let's see. Twist these prongs a little bit. I'm going to straighten this base out. All right. Okay. There we go. So now I'm going to get my pliers, bring them over, and I'm going to touch these back prongs first. Here the pliers. Right. Let's check our temperature. 82.9 degrees. Still too high. Let's round up. That's 83 degrees. So we're going to let our pliers cool off a little bit. Hold them by hand, have them ready. Wait for my thermometer to set. All right, shoot it again. 79.8. Let's use it now. Touch those and move over and get these ones. Okay. 79.8 degrees was the temperature that we had. All right. Gonna lay them down, let them cool off, and we're gonna put these back on the warmer. All right. I'm gonna clamp there. Set it down. Let's run him, see what he does. Picking up a little bit more speed, and we know still that these prongs on this side of the front right here, we need to watch these a little bit more. All right. Let me do this, Cole. My needle nose pliers. Trying to straighten them out by twisting them a little bit. If your prongs are twisted, you may want to twist them the other way to help encourage them to straighten out. All right. Let's put our figure on the board. Yes. Better. Now we still can put our warm pliers on the front of the base. All right. So while those pliers are still cooling, while they're warming, right? We're going to get our scale out and we're going to talk about weight. All right? So now, I'm going to take out a brand new ITZ CL2 base from the pack. Right? And we are going to measure how much it weighs out the package, right? Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's move our scale up. That particular base weighs 1.4 grams. All right. Now, if we add this rounded front right here, that should take the base to, like 1.5. Okay? So now, that's a new base. Now, if I took a sculpted figure, like one of these sculpted figures I intend to use on this base, right? Let's get our Richard Sherman figure. All right, this figure was sculpted from a Haiti Repro linebacker pose. And let's put him on the scale. He comes in at exactly 4.0 grams. That's a good thing. So that player would be legal to play with this base in the TOC. So, okay, let's get another figure. We're going to get our defensive end uh, Eric Armstead. That's this pose right here, number 91. Okay, we're gonna put him on the scale. Now he comes in at 4.1. So this bass, new as is, wouldn't be able to play in the TOC. 4.1 is too heavy. All right. Let's take him off. And by the way, this bass is between 1.5 and 1.6 grams. Okay, let's put it back on there again. Okay, 1.6 grams. All right. So let's say if we got, let's do our middle linebacker, Fred Warner, number 54. This figure is a B-nut figure. All right. And I cut out some of the platform to get some of the weight down on it. Set him on the board. Okay, he comes in at 4.4. So definitely this figure is entirely too heavy. This figure will not be able to play in the TOC with this new CL2 bass, all right? So look, we're gonna take the new CL2 bass off, and we're gonna get our modified CL2 bass, right? And we're gonna weigh that with the rounded front, okay? So we have a 0 scale, and we're gonna put the bass, our customized, our modified CL2 on the scale, right? And around the front, it brings it up to 1.3 grams, right? So let's put the Eric Armstead figure on there. Let's see what it weighs. It comes in at 3.9 grams. So when the base is modified, we can make weight, all right? Let's take him off. Let's put our middle linebacker on here again, Fred Warner, 4.1. So even with that, with this modified base, I probably can take some more material off of it to make it lighter. I'll do that offline, but not here, all right? This guy's too heavy, not a problem, all right? So you see, we see our weight, how much we weigh with some of the figures that we tested, okay? A few figures here, all right? So that's the reason why I took some of that material out of this base in order for it to make weight. That's why I did it. Okay, so now pliers are probably warm again. So we're gonna go back over to the coffee mug warmer, because now we gotta get back into, we gotta put the warm pliers on these front prongs here. All right. And we're gonna see if we can encourage movement. And by the way, while I was at it, I was working with another ITZ base. I forget the name of this one, but this one is one of their standard bases, and I intended on using it for a cornerback maybe. And while I'm here, just want to show you what it looks like. Back our camera out, and I'm just gonna put it on. I intend to put it on one of my corners. See how it goes. It's got fluid movement, you know, and still, I'm still tweaking this base. I put the nail clippers on it. I flashed it, you know, aligned the prongs. Let's see what it does. Okay, good movement, good movement. Still work that needs to be done. All right, so now I'm gonna go back to the pliers, and we have to tweak. We have to put the warm pliers on these front prongs right here. We've already done the back already. I probably can touch the back again, but I'm gonna do these ones in the front. All right. So let me get my thermometer. We're gonna set that right there. And I want to grab our pliers here. Let me make sure my area is straight. Pick up our pliers, clamp down. All right, let's check temperature. 77.7 degrees, fine with me. So touch our prongs with the 77.7 degree temperature. All right. And let's lay the base down. Let's check temp one more time. 80.4. So okay, I must have missed. 80.4. So it probably was the temperature probably was around 81. And when I check it again, it's reading at 80.4 degrees. All right, good deal, good deal. So let's put that there, and let's get our clamp back and put that back on the coffee mug warmer. And keep those pliers in constant contact with that warmer. Let's move this out of the way. Let's look at our prongs. Got good alignment. The prongs are swept to the rear slightly. Let's see what kind of movement we got. Still looping, not a problem, not a problem. Okay, the dial turn a little bit. Straighten it. Let's run it. There we go. It moves well, moves well. Still, there's still more work to be done. All right. Let's see here. Take our cold pliers. Put a little bit more here. Twist a little bit more. It's all about trying to get these prongs in the right position so we can get this base to respond. Okay, better movement. It runs the distance. Still a little bit choppy. A lot more work that needs to be done. Okay, we're going to adjourn here. All right. This CL2 base, hey, it's a great base. You know, just a little bit that I've done to it. You know, I'm confident that this base can be very competitive in tournament play. You just gotta find the right weight if you intend to play. If you intend to put a customized figure on this type of base. All right. But yeah. Other than that, you know, if you're playing with you know, a standard figure or straight out the bag, weight problems won't be. You won't have any weight problems. But as far as performance goes, yeah, this CL2, this is a game-changing base right here. I'll be back with more. You know, thanks for watching my video. I'm Mo. Bye-bye.